figuring out who we are, why we do what we do, how are we going to impact others, how are we going to impact our family and our children.
Yeah.
Like you get to that level, you start talking about the why of what we do, it is extremely momentum creating.
Why we play is to try to figure ourselves out, where we best belong, where we can give our best, see how good we can get, right? Can we learn to be excellent?
All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to Athletes at Law. I'm Todd Burnham. I'm here with Phil McCarthy, and we're going to talk about, again, how the lessons that we learned on the field are translating to our lives and our business every day. And today we're going to talk about why we play.
That's it. And again, remember the 5 framework. It's what is the dynamic we're talking about? Why we play. How did we experience that as athletes? Where do we see that in workplaces, right? How can we share with you how you get a rep, how you make that actionable, and what gets better when this gets better?
Let's do it.
So we'll start with that. Why we play. I think let's start with the 4 questions and work ourselves back to the first one, which is, why do we play? What's the best part about playing? What have you figured out about yourself? And who do you play for?
And why do we do this as part of is this just kind of like a reset, just to kind of get your mind right?
I think this is really about, this conversation pulled off of Charles Duhigg's building the power of habit. Okay, so he points out 3 things should happen when you build a strong habit, and why we play really relates to this in a way.
Perfect.
It's the reward section of this. So he says to build a habit, cue a behavior. So every morning I lay out my running shoes if I run. I see that in the morning when I wake up first thing. I put my shoes on, and now I have to make a decision to either take them off or do the run.
Well, get up.
Get up. Yeah, I gotta get up.
Yeah.
All right. And then I chose running. And what's the reward? I set a reward for running. It makes me feel great. I know that leads to all the health things that we're looking for. We want to look good. We want to feel good.
Is the reward the actual act of running or accomplishing a goal of running a certain amount?
It's the goals at the end of running, but it's also you get to define that. If you say winning looks like this, that's the reward. If you say this is what I want out of it, that's the reward. If you just want your neighbors to see you doing something they're not doing, that could be your reward. I don't know.
Okay.
However, setting a reward is a vital piece of making life stick and high performance happen. Picking the areas of play that you enjoy, that are less friction, right? Yeah. All of those things matter. And then how we get started is how we talked about last week in our conversation about how'd you choose your sport.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Okay. So why do we play?
I got a competitive freak inside me that wants to keep competing in life.
And you're like, can I put this to work somehow? Can this be something?
Yeah,
right?
That's literally what I've done. It was, okay, I'm on the sales calls. All right, then I've got to be that guy, right? And then I'm going to be in court. All right, then I got to be that, I'm just trying to compete. And I got to a point after listening to Kobe so much, it was like, I'm just trying to compete with myself from yesterday. If you keep doing that, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
Is because it gives me life. Sustains me.
Can the things that I like doing, can the strengths I like using, bring the energy, bring value to other people, give you an advantage, make you feel good, figure yourself out? Those are things, right?
Dude, that's like the deepest level of why we do, why you do this. Figuring out who we are, why we do what we do, how are we going to impact others, how are we going to impact our family and our children?
Yeah.
You get to that level, you start talking about the why of what we do. It is extremely momentum creating, right?
I think there's a process in adding complexities onto why we play. Let's start with, and you have a son that's young and playing right now. Why does a young kid, youngest bucket, 1st through 5th, why do they play? It's pretty simple. They want to win.
They want to win.
They want to hang out with their friends.
Yep. They want to be around each other.
They want something to do because they want to solve boredom.
Yep.
Right. So it starts with some pretty simple things.
Yeah.
They want attention. Mm-hmm. Kids like, Dad, watch me do this, right? We all experience that our own way, but kids want some attention around their activities, say.
Yep.
And we get that. Then it grows to the next thing that says, hey, if I'm good at this, I got some energy. Somebody told me, sparked a belief, you're really good at this, Todd.
Right.
Oh.
Hey,
I
got really positive, attention there.
Yeah, I got attention for doing something. What was that thing?
Yeah.
Right. And then we start to say, I want to layer that into why I play. I want to see how good I can get, right? And then
I feel better when people are acknowledging that I'm good at something. I feel better. I have more confidence.
and if you're good at something, then maybe I help to win a little bit.
Yep.
So then, the winning piece that you already established is it feels good.
Yep.
Feels good to win feels better to win than lose.
Yeah.
Then you're starting to say, well, I can help the win.
Yep.
And then that's a level that starts to say, well, what do I need to do to keep doing that? Like I always say to athletes at that age is picture your best game ever. How'd that feel? And this smile comes on their face. You can't even help it.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about, it feels wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, picture a day you were off, you just couldn't give your all, you didn't have it, or you didn't produce it.
Yep.
How'd that feel? And you're like, not so great. Like it's not the worst thing in the world, but it can show up.
Yep.
And you sit there and you say, well, one of the motivating behaviors is, well, what if everything we do leads towards you having your best game? So these drills, this way of thinking, this way of relating to each other, all should lead to you having your best game.
You getting better.
Yeah, you getting better. Now you start to grow that middle part, right? And then, and as we move for the next bucket, you start to have said, I chose lacrosse to see where my edges are.
Love the edges.
And then what are the three places, the edges that we go search for? Physical, mental, emotional.
I do spiritual too.
Spiritual is a good one.
Yeah.
In the real world, when we look at work and we move this over to work, you put financial.
Absolutely.
As one of those, because got to get to break even.
Yeah. I mean, that's if you don't manage that, you don't have a business, right?
Right. So you can't stay and play.
Nope.
All right. So the next dynamics of why we play is to try to figure ourselves out, figure where we can be, where we best belong, where we can give our best, see how good we can get. Right? Can we learn to be excellent? Mm-hmm. Can we work our way to the front of something? Mm-hmm. Does that get different energy? Does a good play or a bad play get different energy? We're just trying to figure out a whole bunch of things. Well, how do we get attention differently from our friends? Good plays, middle plays, bad play, all those things. Does shooting at the wall at home relate to having a better game? I don't know. I have to figure that out.
I think it's the practice of practicing intention towards excellence, right? And that excellence is defined so many different ways. And I was just reading this book, Way of Excellence by Brad Stulberg.
Yeah.
And it's like the mindset, what he's talking about, and what I gather from it is just this athlete's mindset. It's just this, you're faced with challenges, you overcome them, you keep going, like, because there's something at the end, right? Yeah. There's something at the end of it. And then the key of all this is to keep going piece, is to really make that the goal. Right, is to enjoy the process, because then you're going to like the reps.
That's all. But be aware in your process so that you know what you're scooping up. So you get two things when you do the one thing. Like you get to play, but you're also figuring out what's a good game, what's a bad game, what's a nice play, what's a not so nice play. Yeah. What's better, what's worse. So pay attention to that as well.
Yep.
And if you can be a little deliberate in how you do things, maybe you can tie that to how good you get or improving a skill.
Yeah, 100%.
So we like that. When we think about the younger bucket or high school or us in our younger careers, it's really important to continue to build that reward system. So what we're saying is it's up to you what rewards you. You're going to be motivated to figure out the reward here.
Yeah.
And that's going to matter to you. Mine will be slightly different than yours. There'll be some similarities, but some differences. So this is really about set your own reward system. Kids aren't as good at this, but young professionals are learning this. They didn't know I should be asking a question like this possibly while I'm doing my work.
Well, and make sure that you're around people that have similar reward goals.
And talk about it and acknowledge good work. And there's energy. Give energy. As a teammate, you owe energy to other people. They owe it back to you on a good play and support on a bad play. And as we know, there's more neutrals in both of those. I like asking this question. And if you're a parent and you have a younger kid playing the sport, any sport, what's your favorite part? What's the best part about playing? And whatever they answer, they're setting their own reward system. And we need to listen for that and protect that reward system from ourselves sometimes or from the outside world, taking it from them. But I'll tell you, as parents, we're probably as culpable as anybody else in this regard.
100%. It's a constant learning process.
Yep. So again, setting the reward is important there. We've talked about how it relates to law and performance in law.
Yeah.
Right. I believe hey, getting the outcomes you like for your clients, getting your peers better at what they do, mentoring them, overseeing their work, giving them energy for good plays. all of those working as a team to do big things that you couldn't do yourself.
And
all that.
being more involved in that process because you put the time in to be a more involved participant.
Yes, and then that's exactly right. And acting on the things that A, are part of your role or priorities, but B, in what you're interested in, what you're good at. Right?
Yeah.
So those are things that also then start to make this thing a little bit more powerful.
So like the why we play directly related to the habits we create around the why.
Yes. So now we're going to move towards like, how do I get a rep on this? One thing would be really think about concentric circles. Like, why do I play? To figure out myself, figure out what I'm interested in, to figure out how great I can be. Yep. What's next? To be on a team with people that have like-minded, like-care effort, right?
Yep.
And abilities. Yes. To, sometimes it would be, I love my jersey. It mattered what school we played for, what team you're on. So then I'm going to let the team matter. I'm going to let a coach or a coworker or a boss matter or somebody I work with matter.
Merch.
Right? I'm
wearing my
the merchandise matters. You don't walk into a college locker room at any level and not get excited when they have the helmet, the gloves, the sweatshirts, the pants, right? Like
all of it. You're wearing your pride,
that's
man.
why
Like
I
you're
wear
putting
it,
it
right?
out there.
So
Yeah.
the more reasons, the more rewards you set around your own play, the more, why do I play? I play for myself. I play for my line mate. I play for my team. I play for my school. I play to make my sport the most exciting sport in the world. So you see where soccer's growing in right now, and that sport's accelerating in everybody's attention and focus right now.
Yeah.
Great. So I love my industry to grow. I want my company to grow, right?
Yep.
And I think that's all great. So where do you get a rep? Start thinking about who you play for. If you're caught and you shrunk these circles, make sure you're in the right spot, playing the right sports. Make sure that you fight for this. Fight for the growth of who you get to play for.
Love that.
Find a teammate and move a teammate to move a win, right?
Yeah, I love it.
What gets better when this gets better? I would say it is so much easier to work hard at something, give it your all, when you know what you're going to get.
And why you're doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I would, how do I get a rep on this as well? And what gets better when I do this is consider rewards. You can compartmentalize them. What's a short-term reward? And what's a middle-term reward? What's a long-term reward? The life I want to live, the position I want to get. Middle term could be senior associate to associate. What do I want the season to look like? Short term is, what do I want this game to look like? What do I want this case to look like? Mm-hmm. So the rewards could be short term, middle term, long term. Can I satisfy all three?
Well, and I think from a founder standpoint too, the reward piece of this is really important. Like, because you have to look at this from many different tiers. You're going to be looking at it like from an administrative standpoint, a performance standpoint, a marketing standpoint, all of those things as a founder, you're looking at the reward of them all working together. And so when you're putting all those things together, you have to kind of give equal time to these things.
Yeah.
So even understanding that the reward might be something that you're building that's a piece of something bigger, whatever it gets you through the night, man, just do it.
Right.
Right?
And again, the way I'm saying, like the long-term one might not satisfy me on a Tuesday, the second day of the month, right?
Yeah.
But the short-term reward, if I allow for something like that, like what a great week, or we really moved in this process, that can get your juice going until you get to the next one.
Love it.
So that's where you get your reps.
Yep.
That gets better when you get better. That's what I have for this week.
Next week is how you get excellent.
Oh, I love this one.
Let's go. See you next week.